Choice of a Young Voice.
Welcome to The Choice of a Young Voice. This is a series where we discuss the different choices that we make as young people in this generation. My name is Caroline Muche and I am your host. Now today, we are discussing something very interesting. A lot of young people love talking about it. Courtship or dating? Do those terminologies actually matter? Or is it what you do in the relationship that matters? Let's figure out, how do you date or court in the right way that's pleasing to God? And to help us figure that out today, we have Pastor Makhanu, an amazing speaker, preacher, gospel minister. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you.
Oh wow, this is
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And our audience is here with us also, ready to ask questions and eager to learn so much. What do you say?
Thank you.
Yes, and we are so excited because today everyone is ready. Can't wait to ask Pastor all the questions they've ever had about courtship. So let's get into it. What is the difference between courtship and dating? And is there an actual difference?
Well, courtship is an act of wooing. Wooing.
Okay.
It's like you are soliciting for the affection of the other person because of your preparations for marriage. That's what courtship is all about. The root word is court and ship. So basically, it simply means you are trying to influence the other person to allow you plan together for marriage, but according to the court, according to the rules. You get it? Yeah, so that's courtship. Dating is or refers to an act of learning more about the other person, getting to know, getting to have just some little understanding that is common about this particular person. Now, what is the difference? Is that in courtship and in dating, both of them involve knowing. The only difference is the degree of knowing. So how much are you going to know? In dating is very shallow, is common, basically an acquaintance, getting to know, oh, where do you come from? I come from Migori. Wow. What do you do? I'm a student. Okay. I'm a college student. I'm a high school student. Or I do some business. Wow, that's great. So where your county, maybe it's Migori. You get it? Those what we call the acquaintances, just getting to know the basics about the person. The degree differs when you talk about courtship, because then you are wooing this particular person towards you or soliciting for the affections of the other so that the two of you can continue or can plan for marriage. So that the difference, I would say, is in terms of the end result. The difference is not in the process. The process is the same, but the end result, one is for marriage, another one is just to get to know who you are. Like I'm getting to know about our host here, I'm getting to know about some of you guys, you know.
So we're dating.
Basically, this is a dating. Yeah, this is a date, actually. We are out on a date, yes.
We're all dating here, okay?
Yes.
Maybe I could ask you, what have you thought is the difference, or do you think there's a difference in the first place?
Okay, my name is Norman. I think that in one of them, you can have lots of people. That is probably in dating. I tend now to believe from the discussion you can date maybe 3, even 4, 5 people. But now in courtship, you start to narrow down maybe to one person who maybe you feel the affection and the feelings can now
Okay, that's very interesting. Any other opinion, maybe preferably from a lady? Is there a lady who has an opinion? You have an opinion? No? Yes.
Okay, I have a question. Okay, Pastor, in dating actually there's this kind of a ladder thing that people do climb. So will it be safe to conclude that from dating somebody can actually grow, or a relationship can grow from something into courtship?
Well, because as we have again said, courtship is about soliciting for the affections. You do not do that from a stranger. So it definitely have to have had a start. And the start was getting to know who you are, where you come from, what you do, and how we converse probably in our whatever doing, like in this particular show we are meeting, we'll get to know who is who comes from where. Then from there, probably contacts are picked, you know, conversation continues. Then something starts growing. Something starts growing. That thing that grows will now lead to a decision, you know, my now not asking you just to get to know who you are, because I have already known. I know that this is a friend, you know, we have met in the show, we've met, you know, many other places, we've done some things together, we've gone out together. Now I come up to make a decision and say, hey, what about if we can plan, you know, together, to live together. So courtship starts from something, and that thing is because you have known who it is. Because you do not ask somebody for marriage who is a stranger. You don't marry strangers, do you?
So is there a difference between courtship and engagement?
Actually, courtship is engagement.
Ah.
When you talk about courtship, you're talking about you're now engaging specifically for marriage. So it's just the two words can be used interchangeably. You are engaging, meaning you are now saying, hey, man, can we? And then if she says yes, then you know the next thing, we tell our parents.
Yeah.
Because you cannot start courtship minus, you know, your parents' consent and knowledge. Yeah.
Then I think that like a lot of misconceptions on the two terminologies,
Yes.
you know, because also back in the day, courtship, that word used to be used a lot. Dating, not that much.
That's true.
Here, now in this 21st century, courtship is not used much among the youth. It's just like, I'm dating Norman, I'm dating Wycliffe. Okay, not all of them at once, but like that's how society has...
Yeah, things have changed again culturally from where we're coming from. There wasn't this kind of freedom where young people would just go out and meet and associate. That kind of thing was never there, except only in places like funerals or ceremonies where parents would also be in attendance. So we didn't have the freedom of, you know, sitting with a young lady or a young man to talk, and, you know, that thing was never there. As a matter of fact, even marriages were pre-arranged by parents, you know. But now, with time, you know, society has changed. We are now always out there. So we talk, we date, we go out talking. Unfortunately, many young people seem to be confusing dating for courtship. Dating simply refers to when you are getting to know who this particular person is. By the way, do you know that you don't have to date the person you are going to marry? No. I can be your date. You are getting to know more about this pastor. You get what I'm saying? I can know more about you. You're my date. That has nothing to do with some attachments. But where affections and emotional attachment is involved, then that thing is called courtship. And the moment you get attached emotionally, affectionately, then the only thing that, the best thing that you can do is after that agreement has been reached on, then you let your parents know that so and so is courting me for this, for marriage.
There's a hand here.
Yes. I just wanted to have a confirmation. Can we equate dating to friendship? Because in a way, with what you're explaining, it's like leading to something that leads to friendship. Then when you become friends, then with time when you decide to have that affection and end up in marriage, then it becomes courtship.
Yeah. Let me just ask you a question. Don't we go out sometimes with, like if you're young people in the church,
Yeah.
you go out on some project. Either it could be community, service project. It could be, prayer meetings, church or sports. Don't we have such like meetings?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, in those meetings, when you're going out together in those meetings, you're basically dating. You get it? That's dating. Though some people confuse when they have already asked somebody for a relationship and they are going out and they say it's a dating. No. It's because the society today would wish to give more space and more room to our young people to explore one another. They call it dating, but it's not.
Okay.
If anybody has asked you for a relationship for marrying, and you have agreed, it's no longer dating. That is courtship.
Okay.
But if you're just playing around like now, you love,
I'm
with
seeing
one another,
so and so.
that is dating. You get it? But the moment he comes and says, you know what, I think I'm convinced. You get it? At that particular time, courtship starts. But as I said, you immediately have to let your parents know. Why? Because now you are going to be very particular. In most cases, you are going to go out, just the two of you, to talk, to share, and agree on so many things.
Okay.
It will be important that then at that time your parents are aware.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor, for that. Then, hence the question, is courtship biblical?
Well, it's very interesting. The word courtship is not in the Bible, neither dating. But the concept, and again, it is not there forcibly. We can say by inference, we can infer, we can say, because this is what happened somewhere, then this is what it could mean. And one of the good examples you can talk about is probably Samson and this beautiful queen, they call it slay queen.
Slay queen.
He goes there and he sees her, and after that dating comes home and says, now I have made up my mind. Tells his parents, I've made up my mind, I've dated her, she's the only one that I must have. And the parents argue out, of course. In courtship, you do not fix, you don't get into this commitment with people who are unlike you in terms of faith. And he argues out. He says, no, I love her. I'm convinced. You get what I'm saying? After having gone out and met her. But I'm saying this is again by inference, because we cannot authoritatively say that this was a dating exercise. Are we together? In the Hebrew culture, which is actually the culture of the Bible, we do not so much find this kind of dating and courtship practices that we do now there. They are not there. In fact, if anything, in those particular settings...
Arranged marriages.
Yes, arranged. My mother is a good example. My mother never saw my father...
Until the wedding day.
Not the wedding.
Oh.
Until she was married, and how she was married, she even did not know who was marrying her. She was just, there were some men who waylaid them. They were coming from fetching water. And then some men from the bush ambushed them. They had already done the arrangements, paid dowry at the back of my mother. She didn't know. So they carried her crying and, kicking in the air, took her to my daddy's ghetto where then they locked her up. They locked from outside.
What?
And
Marriage by
you are
force.
the two of you. And that time, you sleep there, whether you have had, any sexual contact or not, you are married, period.
Okay.
You cannot be accepted back home. So one day I was asking her, did you ever fall in love with him, with my dad? And said, for us, it was not about whether or not you love. It's about whether or not you're married. Yeah, so that is then. But now it's different because right now it's more of your choice. It's now the choice that you make. This is what I want. But I think the only issue is we need to do it by the rules. Let's not just do it in a laissez-faire type of way. We need to go by the rules. And the rules, I think I'll be mentioning in a little while from now.
Okay, thank you. We're about to get to know a lot of those rules. We're going to talk about now courtship, now a relationship. How do you actually relate in a godly way? And if it's a toxic relationship, what do you do? You know, if you have to break up with someone, how do you do it? These and more, we'll talk about that. Even before we go on a break, we're going to watch just a video of other people sharing their opinions on what they think courtship and dating is and whether it matters. At the end of the day, I believe what we're discussing here now, it's not really the definitions of courtship and dating, but really how can we court or be in a relationship the right way. A lot of us are making so many mistakes today, and we need God's guidance to figure out how do we do things the right way, in a way that does not leave us broken, in a way that does not leave us shattered, but that will glorify God. And stay with us. We'll be back to discuss more.
Courtship is a long-term relationship between a male and a female that may lead to marriage. While dating is the short-term relationship between a male and a female that may or may not lead to marriages. In dating, you need not to inform your parents that you are dating so and so. Actually, it can be secret, just between the two of you, without necessarily involving the opinion of the parents. While in courtship, people or young people tend to inform their parents about the people whom they are courting.
Welcome back. You are watching The Choice of a Young Voice, and today we are talking about courtship. We just watched a video of people sharing their opinions on what the difference is between courtship and dating, and we've established that. But now let's get into, courtship. What does it mean, to be in a relationship? How can we relate in a godly way with one another? So, Pastor, how would you know that when courtship is leading to marriage? How would you know a relationship is actually going to get to marriage? Yeah,
First things first. When you're doing a house, you're building a house, you need a foundation. And the foundation must be strong enough. At any time, there is a problem when you're setting the foundation. In other words, doing the beacons of the length, the width, and every other. When you do the foundation and you have a problem there, please, you can be sure you don't have to go to school to be taught that you'll have a problem when it comes to roofing. Are we together? And so the foundation of this thing called marriage is normally laid at the courtship stage. You court a wrong person, you are in for it. You court a right person, and in the right way, you are out to enjoy. And so this is not something that you just flat about and laugh about and joke about and just because somebody looks the way you want, you think this is okay. As a matter of fact, this is the only place where when you want to get in, this is the only place you need to take your shoes off. Because the ground is unlike you. The ground is holy. This is the only place that you need to surrender your judgment and tell God, God, I have been seeing her, but I do not think I want to see her the way I've been seeing her or him. I would like at this particular time, God, to see her or him the way you want me to see. And should there be something that I need to check, please, God, help me. And so that is the foundation. At any time you enter in wrongly, you will get out quickly and in a wrong way. Yeah. So the best thing is get started well. At this particular time, I think Proverbs chapter 3 verse 5 will do. Do not trust yourself. And I think it is important. Jeremiah 17 verse 9 says, the heart of man is deceitful above all things. Therefore, your heart can even cheat you. Your heart can deceive you. You may think this is the right person when this person is the wrong one. So you just need the guidance of God. On this particular venture, you have no option. Are we together? And so this is the way to start.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so then, okay, you know me, I have 20 questions, but I don't want to shut anyone else out. Okay, we have a lot of hands. Let's start with the lady over here.
Okay, you said that we can't court without the consent of our parents. So I was asking, is it a must that you should inform your parents, or you can just court, then when you are ready for the marriage, you just go and tell them?
Yeah. Courting starts by somebody asking you that they want you, or this gentleman is asking you that he would wish you to give him a hand in marriage. Okay? That's when it starts.
Oh, you don't start by saying, can you be my girlfriend?
Well, we are girlfriends and boyfriends. All of us are girlfriends and boyfriends. You don't go out asking somebody to be your girlfriend. I mean, that is outrageous.
Wow.
Yeah. All of us are boyfriends and girlfriends. As church members, as young people, all of us are friends, right?
Yeah,
we are friends.
Every man here is my boyfriend.
Yeah. So when I go to ask you specifically, is not for a friendship. I'm saying now, having seen and, you know, with my little judgment, I'm convinced that we can work together. What do you think? So basically, that's the reason. That's the only reason why I should ask you for you know, to be with me. Now, at that particular time, the moment you consent that yes, you can work with this guy towards marriage, then what happens is you need to let your parents know. And I'll tell you two reasons. One, if you don't tell your parents, as I said, at this particular time, because you have already decided to be very particular, so you're starting to discuss, to talk about your future together with him. Okay? So if you do not tell this thing to your parents will not know that this young man and now their daughter, they are planning for this particular thing. It is very possible for this young man to mess you up. Let me tell you a very simple explanation to just help you understand this. If my daughter told me that you are courting her, and I get to know who you are, you get what I'm saying? Even when you are out there, the two of you, because you have come to my home, I have known you. Let me tell you, chances of you messing up with my daughter are very slim. Because one, you know that even the parents are aware that we are out here. You have the blessings of the parents. We cannot bless you to go and mess. You get what I'm saying? So it's for your protection. That is reason number one. But reason number two, because when this guy has asked you for a relationship, you are too naive, let me say too inexperienced to make a balanced judgment. Sometimes your parents, or sometimes those who are spiritually mature guys may help you to put or contextualize your, you know, your decision, to see whether the decision I've made is the right one. You need an approval sometimes of either parents or some significant others around you. And so this is the reason why people need to know. If people do not know, you are exposing yourself to vulnerability, and you will make a shipwreck out of that particular relationship.
Wow. Wow. Okay, we had another question. Okay, let's start with Rachel, and then we'll go to, wow, okay, to the lady behind there for now, okay?
My name is Rachel. My question still is in the line that my sister here asked, but in the line of maybe the one who approached me is a different tribe. And we tell the parents, and the parents are like, no, I don't want you to go to that tribe.
Yes.
But you see, I had already consented to this man.
Yes.
Now the parents are against the tribe.
Yes.
What do you do, or how do you go about that?
Yeah, and by the way, you guys, I think it is also good for you to know that when you are sharing this issue to your parents, it doesn't mean that they will approve of it. Even your own friends, because they could be knowing some things about this guy that you do not know. And so the fact that they will say no does not mean that that relationship is dead. That's one thing you need to know. As a matter of fact, God-ordained relationships will always stand the test of disapproval and objections. I've been around not very long, but for a few years I've been around, and as a pastor.
Not long?
Yes, not very long. I'm still you know,
a young man.
Yeah, young man. Yeah. So you know, when there are relationships like those ones, and where parents will say no completely, but because of your patience, you get what I'm saying? Work on this relationship cautiously, and you even have to share with your boyfriend about the objection. Of course, you may not give all the details, because you also need to preserve the dignity of your home. You get it? So, but you may say they are having some challenges with it, but let's pray about it. You get what I'm saying? So over time, God will tell whether this relationship was real or unreal. And I can assure you, if you allow yourself to be challenged, that is a mature relationship. But a relationship where you wake up one morning and you say, this must be the guy, and it must be and nothing else, then that is a very immature relationship. Especially a relationship that is growing into. You're not going to hold up this man in a cage. You'll be out there, you'll be out there. So allow
Thank you,
people
Pastor.
to, yes.
I want you to be able to answer more questions before time goes. Yes, the lady behind there.
Okay, my name is Lois. My question is, okay, I had two questions, but she has asked one. So what if you did, this guy has been taking you out, and you just realized he's cheating on you with your friend? What do? You are closest
That's
friend.
in courting, right?
Yeah.
In courtship, and you discover he is cheating on
Yeah.
you. Yeah. It is better to break your courtship. Divorce while in courtship than waiting to divorce when you're married. So break it. But you don't just break haphazardly because he's cheating on you. The first thing you can do as a Christian is you need to bring out your, make it very clear to him. This is what I've discovered, and I'm not very happy about this and this and this. And I don't think it is good, because anybody who is cheating on you when you are still naive, what will he do when you will be a common salt in his house or in her house? It will even be much worse. So what we normally do is discuss and tell him or her, I'm not happy about this thing, and I don't think if it continues, I don't think I'll put up with this relationship. It is possible that some of them do get converted along the relationship and they get better, but others will maintain their unfaithfulness. Please run away.
Run for your life.
Run for your, break that courtship, even if he has paid dowry. Tell your parents, not this one. And there is no parent, no father, no mother would allow to give their daughter or their son to somebody whom they know is not straightforward.
Wow.
We will return.
Thank you.
Ng'ombe tutarudisha.
Thank you, Pastor. Wycliffe, I see your hand.
Yes.
In 1 second.
Yes. Yes, thank you, Caro. Pastor, just a quick one. Is it possible to overstay in courtship?
Before you answer that, Christine, what is your question?
Okay, I'm Christine. My question is it good to be jealous in your relationship?
Wow.
It's possible to overstay in a relationship. Is it good to be jealous? And the lady behind there?
Okay, I'm Valerie, and my question is, what are some of the factors we should consider when we are in a courtship? And second to that, how can I know that the man I'm courting truly loves me?
Wow.
You have your hands full, Pastor.
Wow.
Let's hear these answers.
That's okay. So let me start with the last one. How do I know that this guy loves me? You
have 5 minutes.
Yeah, you cannot know. Please, just know that. You can't know that this man loves me. You can know that you love the person. But as far as the other person is concerned, no human being has the power to read the mind of the other one. You get it, my sister? So you can probably get convinced that you love him. That is the most important thing. But if you want him to confirm over and over, it's not very bad to ask him, do you love me? Yeah, for confirmation.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
But you cannot know. And I think that's very important. Now the rules, basically what you're asking me is the rules. You know, what are you supposed to do and what are you not supposed to do? Now in common courtship practices today, one of the things is young people would like to be too close. In fact, courtship relationships today kind of thrive on contact as opposed to conduct. So it's how close am I? You know, holding each other, hugging a little long, warming around her or his body is what makes this courtship practice of the day to thrive. But that's not acceptable. I think in the scriptures, anything that is sinful in nature should not be seen in the courtship practices of those who believe in Jesus Christ. So that should be just out. And as we said, do yourself a service by making sure that you have allowed your parents to know. Those are the rules that you need to do. And then avoid sitting too late in the night. Too late in the night would be like, nowadays most of the guys go to college and the only time they have for discussing is after classes. So they want to be in one another's room late up to 1, 2, they are still talking. Let me tell you, you are not clever and wiser than Satan. Yeah, you are not. Sooner or later you will be his captive. He has for a little longer studied the human mind, and especially the young people, and he knows what to do. And one of the things he uses is to ensure that you sit long so that he can put you in his, in his trap. So you don't have to. And then the other thing that we don't have to do is to trifle with people's, or young people's, hearts.
Yeah.
You tell this one, I love you.
And the next person.
And then you go to the next person, I love you. Surely, you're mad, you're mad. Then you go, or to me, you are immature. You ought not to have, in the first place, even begun. In fact, I normally tell young people, if at any time you have started courting somebody, and for whatever reason you get attracted to somebody else and you tell them the same words that you told the other one, then you are still too young. Break even the first relationship and break this one and be alone so that you mature first before you start over again. Yeah. So don't. Then, of course, the other thing that I think it will be very, very important is that when you are growing in courtship, it is basically love that is growing. You grow in love. You're growing in love. So that leads me to the question. Now that you're growing, is it possible for me to be jealousy? Well, 1 Corinthians chapter 13, describing what love is, jealousy is not one of them. But there is what we call overprotectiveness in the world of psychology, where you know, this is your man. or this is your lady, so to say. So sometimes, you know, when you see some things around or some people kind of trying to, you know, you feel like, no, this is not good, you know. But jealousy is not acceptable. Overprotectiveness is equally not. But concerned about their welfare and their security, you have a right to. You have a right to just get concerned about their security. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. Jealousy is a negative feeling, you know. It's a negative feeling. You see them talking to others and you get worked up. You see him hugging her and you say,
you go through his texts.
Yes. And then you're busy always checking. The moment you meet, you take the phone, and the quick place you're going to is WhatsApp and SMSs. You're just young. You're just young. Please, you can hold your horses. Relax. When you mature, you will. Yeah. Some people, unfortunately, go like that until marriage. Yeah. And when their husbands go to the bathroom or the wives goes to the bathroom, they take the phone.
That's a sad life.
Yeah, it's a very, very miserable life.
Thank you, Pastor. There's another question you asked that will be answered. I promise it will be answered when we come back from the break. And when we come back from the break, I'd like you to now encourage us, you know, as young people living in this crazy generation of lust, generation of dating and courtship confusion. How can we, you know, find our way in Christ and do things the right way? Stay with us. Welcome back. You are watching The Choice of a Young Voice, and we are having such a heated discussion going on here about courtship, the right way to be in a relationship that will please God. And before we went to the break, Wycliffe asked a very good question. You know, how long can we be in a relationship?
Yes.
So you can address that.
Yeah. Again, it is important for us to know that it is not just how long. It's about what is supposed to be done in courtship, whether it is done or not. It can be done within a relatively short time, and sometimes because of the distances, it can be done over a very long period of time. But I think this is very, very important. Let me assume I have asked you that we can plan to get married. So how long are we supposed to take? How long we are supposed to take depends on, one, whether we understand marriage. That's what we are going to. Because many young people always, their courtship is about the wedding.
Yeah.
It's about, in fact, they spend the whole time just talking about the colors. The number of the wedding, the bridal party, and that is the only thing they talk about, as if, and they forget that that is just for one day, the wedding day. But then there is life after, beyond I say, I do. So what happens? So this is what we normally say. You need to discuss issues of life after the marriage or after the wedding day. So you need to discuss, and there are so many issues. You need to discuss about finances, you need to discuss about children, about your relationship with your parents that you're going to live. You need to discuss about your personality differences, your likes, dislikes, your hates, and your loves. You need to discuss about I'm interested in getting to know the tree, the family tree, where you come from. What are some of the things that are attached with your family? Are they alcoholics? Are they drunkards? Are they wife beaters or man beaters? You know, we just need to get to know these things. There are so many. A list is over actually 17 issues. You need to talk about finances, which is number one home breaker. You get it? You need to talk about sex. You need to talk about sex candidly and openly. How will it be done? Because today, many of you, our minds of our young people today is full of pornography. So the idea and the concept they have of sex is what they see in pornography. They watch a pornographic video for 1 hour having sex. When you get married, your husband
that's what you expect.
Will do 5 seconds and you're done. And so you wonder, you begin comparing what you saw. And so, you need to discuss about all these things. When you are done and you have agreed, courtship will have been a period of what I would call making a constitution for your home. You have made now the constitution over what you have agreed on. Then now you can go to get independence. Your independence is the wedding day. when you're declared now. So you start day one with a constitution that is already made. You have agreed, this is how we will do. This is how the number of children. This is what we will do. If it's family planning is there or not, you have agreed. How we'll discipline our children, you have agreed. You get what I'm saying? How we'll handle finances, you have agreed. You stand a better chance as opposed to people who only spend time talking about the wedding day. After the wedding day, you don't know how even to address your wife. You don't know.
But are you supposed to practice before?
You don't practice.
Oh, okay.
You discuss and know.
Just to make it clear.
Just knowing this is my expectation. I'll expect you, for example, to be in terms of sexual life. This is what I expect, and then he will say, no, this is what I expect. Then you discuss. In most cases, you will never agree, but you discuss and find a middle ground. In fact, it is also one way of learning how to negotiate on your lives together. That's what is done in courtship. Therefore, that is what is going to determine how much time you are going to take. Number one. Number two.
You have 30 seconds.
Yes. This guy is in the US and you are here. You only meet in December, my friend. And you say you've dated for 11 years. You have only met 11 times.
Yeah.
In the 11 years, you've only met 11 times.
Yeah.
How can you say you even know this particular person?
Yeah.
You can date even for 20 years and you still don't know the person. But it is possible the person you've grown up together or you have known from youthhood, growing up together, is possible for you to know quickly. And therefore, I think the right timing is averagely.
Pastor, I'm sorry I had to cut you short, but I believe we have really gotten a lot of content from this discussion. There's so much more to learn though. We need a session 2 of courtship, yeah? Now, before we close this all up, what are your parting shots?
Yeah, I'm holding in my hand a little book called The Adventist Home. It's a very beautiful and practical book. And I just want to read, a few lines, to encourage us. The ideas of courtship have their foundation in erroneous ideas concerning marriage. They follow impulse and blind passion. The courtship is carried on in a spirit of flirtation. The parties frequently violate the rules of modesty and reserve and are guilty of indiscretion if they do not break the law of God. The high, noble, lofty design of God in the institution of marriage is not discerned. Therefore, the purest affections of the heart, the noblest traits of character are not developed. Not one word should be spoken, not one action performed, that you would not be willing the holy angels should look upon and register in the books above. You should have an eye single to the glory of God. The heart should only have pure, sanctified affection, worthy of the followers of Jesus Christ, exalted in its nature and more heavenly than earthly. Anything different from this is debasing, degrading in courtship. And marriage cannot be holy and honorable in the sight of a pure and a holy God unless it is after the exalted scriptural principles.
Wow. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Let's do things the right way. If we're in a relationship, let's pray for God to guide our relationships, to be able to, listen to Him, listen to our parents, listen to His leading, follow His leading, that we may do things the right way and lead each other towards the kingdom of God. Thank you for watching. I hope you have been blessed. We have more episodes lined up for you, so see you next week.